Welcome to Sub-Bass Tips and Tricks. My name is Michael L. Penman, and today we're going to look at creating a Reverb Techno kick drum, which you've been hearing a lot for the past, 15 odd years in Techno. And what we're going to be using is Ableton and Ableton's stock effects. So to start off with, let's just have a listen to the kind of result we're going to be wanting to work with. So let's start by bringing in our 99 kick, and what I'm going to do is just copy this over into a blank MIDI track, and all I'm using, if I go to show in browser, is the standard 99 kick that you actually get within the Ableton's drum library. So you could just search for it there if you're looking for it. It's the one where it's in the classic kit. So anyway, what I've done just to prepare this is pull the volume down to give us enough room to say add compression, distortion, and all manner of other kind of effects. And obviously we'll need a bit of MIDI, so I'm just going to create a 4/4 pattern. And Command D to duplicate that. And what I might do is just pull the velocities down on the weaker beats and the medium beat, which is this weak beat. So I'm going to hold Command while hovering over the note and take it down to 80. Do the same for the other weak beat. And then the medium beat down to 90. And we'll just have a listen to that. So it gives us a little bit of variation. What we're going to do now is set up 3 auxiliary chains. 1 for our compressor, 2 for our pedal to add a bit of distortion, and 3 will be our reverb channel. So I'm going to use the key command, Alt Command T 3 times. And there we have it. So now in D, I'm going to add my compressor. I'm going to use the standard one in Ableton. I'm going to open up the sidechain, EQ, let through all the lower frequencies. And then what I'm going to do is feed the kick drum into this channel. So I'll have it playing. This is D. It's instantly louder because it's doubled the signal. So why don't we just solo the compressed signal so we can hear what we're actually doing. Take makeup off and turn the threshold all the way down, ratio up, attack, and release. Now what we want to do, obviously that sounded very distorted, is pull the release back a bit to work within roughly a 16th note. And I know at 125 tempo-wise BPM, 125 for the release time is a 16th note. So by that logic, 250 would be our 8th note, so I'm going to work a time in between that. Sounding nice. Pull the attack back to let through the initial part, and then take the output down, and we're going to adjust the threshold and ratio. In this kind of parallel compression New York style, you will be needing to have a larger threshold and larger ratio. So we've got roughly about 12 dB gain reduction, I would say. I know roughly a third of the way down is about 10 dB, so maybe just looking a bit closer, let's say 10. So let's put our output up to 10. To make this more New York, let's add our EQ8. Add a shelf, low shelf to the low end. Add a high shelf to the high end. And that's sounding really good. Now let's add our pedal to add a bit of grit to the sound. So we're going to add the pedal into E. And what we might be better doing actually before we do that is just adjust the compression to dry signal. So the dry signal being the natural kick, and the compression signal obviously being the affected part. And that's a great thing about using this parallel compression, is you have a fader for the actual compression and EQ. Obviously you could use the dry wet on the actual compressor and have it on the channel, but I personally prefer to have it on an auxiliary because I can actually send the rest of my drums there as well. So I am going to load in my pedal. I've already got my default presets set up, but what I need to do is make sure the dry wet is 100% because I am using it on an auxiliary. Make sure sub's on so it lets through the lower frequencies. Let's go to distort, and I'll leave it on 11% for the gain. So let's feed the kick drum into E. So let's see if we want to push the gain a bit more. If it's so, I think maybe below 20% is pretty good. Now let's do our reverb. So on F, I'm going to add our reverb unit. Let's send the kick drum there. Make sure it's 100% wet. Take the high cut off as it's on yours. I'm going to have a small size. So feel like it's really rattling around in a tube. Decay up a bit. So obviously that's overtaking our sound a bit. So what we can do, as well as lowering the level, is actually add a sidechain compressor. So add your compressor, open up the sidechain section, use your external sidechain, and choose your kick drum. Might need a little bit more of our original kick coming in, so I'm going to turn up the gain. And use the release to how long it fades out. We can just have a listen to this. What might be really cool is to add an auto filter after this, pull it down so we don't have those high frequencies in there, but then add our LFO in, put it to synced, and I quite like to choose not an 8th note, not a quarter note, and not a 16th note, so something in between that. And I'm going to use, rather than the sine wave, which is very smooth, I am going to choose my down saw. We can add a little bit of beef to this, so why don't we send by clicking, right clicking and going enable all send our actual reverb to the pedal. So that'd be really cool to modulate for the track, but rather than having to do it ourselves, why don't we add the LFO, which you can find in your Max for Live. This is for your Max for Live Essentials, I do believe. Why don't we apply that to the filter cutoff as well? Obviously that's way crazy, so I'm going to pull down the rate and the depth a little bit. I don't want it to be going too far. Okay, one last thing to add a little bit more techno to this. Let's use the brilliant new drum bus. So I'm going to add the boom, so just to beef up the sub part of the kick. And the drive's already on, sounded pretty good. Crunch. Maybe let's pull back the dry wet. And pull back the reverb a little bit. So there we have it. We have a brilliant raw techno kick with the quintessential reverb, and we've also modded that a bit. So by adding the auto filter to add a bit of flavor to it. So why don't you try adding this effect to your tracks? And if you've liked this video, why don't you subscribe to the Sub-Bass YouTube channel?